Alrighty, so we're just about to wrap this thing up and drive it. Gotta finish the drain lines. We're still waiting on some parts. As of this video, there was one order that got messed up. I have all of the other parts that I needed, except for the lines. So one of the orders got messed up, and it's not gonna be here until Tuesday of next week, and by end of day for FedEx. So don't know when that's gonna be. And today is Friday. So I wanted to be able to drive this thing tomorrow. So what I did instead was I went on Amazon and then I did Amazon Prime for a different order of the same stuff, almost the same stuff, and gonna get it here tomorrow next day, and then I'll just save the other stuff. So not sure what happened there. It was supposed to be here today, but didn't show up. So I'll show you what I'm working on. I did discuss this a little bit in a previous video, but I'm gonna have the drain lines come down and then they're gonna go into this little can here. So I'm gonna have a 90 coming off each turbo, and then the line's gonna come down at an angle and gonna do a 90 into each one of these. Gonna have another 90 going down to the scavenge pump. So basically what this is a 3-inch tube, basically this same tubing here. I took a 3/16 stainless plate, ran some bolts through it, cut it down to size, and that bolt pattern there is gonna be the same as the scavenge pump on the bottom side. So basically it's gonna be bolted right underneath it. This line's gonna come out and then go down to the scavenge pump and then pump it all the way forward to the oil pan. So I did measure this thing up so it's all spaced evenly. I just gotta weld it up, put a cap on it here. So I got another piece of this stainless plate that I'm gonna put a cap on. So I gotta cut that all out yet. And this guy right here is the scavenge pump that I'm using. So this is like a marine grade fuel pump, it says on there, but when I ordered it, it was listed as a scavenge pump. So that's what I'm gonna use. It's self-priming, yada, yada, yada. So it's a 3/8 inch NPT. So what I did here, because it came with these fittings here to barb, and this is like a 1/2 inch, and the dash 10 is a 5/8. So I ordered some 3/8 NPT to 10 AN, and then I'm just gonna convert this to an AN fitting so I can run AN all the way front to back. I'm also gonna be switching the oil pan fitting, because right now I have I think I have 1/2 inch NPT to barb on that guy. So we're gonna get that thing converted over too. Because right now what I was doing was basically just taking the AN line, slipping it over, and then clamping it. So kind of cheesy. All right, so this is what this is gonna look like. Got the 3 bungs on this side, drain bung on this side. Now you can see how it's going to be bolted essentially to the truck with the scavenge pump underneath it. I think this thing turned out pretty good. I did make the little cap. This one's a little dinged up, so it doesn't really fit that great. It's like dented here. And I cut it a little bit small. So I'm gonna weld all of this up, take it over to the bench, table, whatever, weld this thing, and then install it and wire the pump up. Okay, so I got this first part welded up on the top. Some of the spots look okay, but right on the front piece looks really ugly because I ran out of 1/16 stainless rod. All I had was 1/8. So I did probably half of this thing with a 1/8 rod, and that was pretty difficult because it's a really small weld. So I ended up kind of blowing through it and got a little ugly there. And it's Saturday morning, so I don't really have anywhere to get stainless 1/16 rod on a Saturday locally. So what I did was I went to the store and I got some stainless 030 MIG wire and then just twisted that up, and that's what I'm going to be using to finish up the rest of the welds here. The thick portion on the bottom, I'll probably do a separate video on making these things too, but I might be able to use the 1/8 inch rod on the bottom because it's really thick plate and I'll use a little bit more heat. So I just got to be careful because it's thick to thin, so we'll see. But I'm going to get going on putting the base on now, and then I'll be doing the rest of the welding with these guys. But yeah, overall kind of disappointing that this happened that way. I should have just waited, but I got impatient and didn't want to wait, and I just tried to finish it with the 1/8 rod and kind of boogered it up. Kind of sucks because that's going to be right on the top and what you're going to see first, but oh well. All right, so here's the rig. Got it all finished up. That twisted up wire actually worked pretty good. First time I've ever really done a lot of welding with wire like that. But this thing didn't turn out too bad. So we're gonna get it installed and make the lines, wire the pump. We should be okay. All right, so getting a little bit farther. So got all of the lines done. Let's see what this looks like now. So we got the 3 coming in. These 2 lines, one comes from there, one comes from there. This one's a pretty tight bend here. And the hose looks like it's kind of kinked, but it actually, it's wide open, so it should be good. This one I decided to go down, around, and back. And I went through that little hole there, so I made the hole big enough so the AN fitting will go through it, and then I kind of tweaked the hole a little bit so it's not gonna, it's not actually catching on the hose at all. So you can see how it's kind of, the infeed side is pushed down, the other side is lifted up. So it goes through pretty nice. So other than that, this is all done. I do have the line ran to the front. If you remember, I said I ordered this stuff because my other roll wasn't going to be here till later in the week, and I wanted to get this done. So this is a 10-foot section, and with that straight fitting, I come up, over, and back, and then I follow my transcooler lines back. Come out over here, go back, and then those 4 bolts right there are where the pump is going to be. So I don't have another 90-degree fitting, and this is still going to be a little bit short. So what I was going to do is swing it over and around into my straight fitting. But I think what I'm going to do temporarily is just get like a 5/8 barb union and then just hose clamp them together. I did order a 90-degree fitting, and I ordered a 120-degree fitting for the front. It's a really hard angle to get to, but the 120-degree fitting, instead of coming straight out, it'll come out and then go back behind the motor mount, and it'll follow those 2 transcooler lines back. So that's the idea. And then it'll give me a little bit more length out of this 10-foot section, and then I can hook it up to the 90-degree fitting in the back. Yeah, that was like a really tough angle to get to, but hopefully you understand what I'm talking about. I also have to cut this pinch weld section out on the bottom side to get the pump to mount. So my kids had a friend's birthday party today, so the wife was gone with the vehicle all day, and I was here with my son, so I wasn't able to leave to go get a cutoff wheel for that thing because I don't have one. So I am going to do that later and get the pump mounted. One other thing I am going to do is I'm going to mount a little tab there, so I'll be able to finish that up tonight. And then I just decided I'm going to mount this NPT bung underneath here, so I'm going to weld that in quick, and then I'll be able to run the vacuum lines off of this. So this is in between the first and the second turbo. So basically what I did, there's my center marker, that tape line. So what I did was I marked this thing. So that aluminum NPT bung is going to be right in the center, and I'm going to run it straight down through the bed. One's going to go to the loud valve, and then one is going to go over to the wastegate. I'm going to go down under the bed and then up. I want to do it that way so I can keep the vacuum lines away from any of the heat sources, so I don't have to worry about like the wastegate line breaking. I'll run it under the truck and then probably protect it inside of some like fuel line or something. Similar to this right here, this is the line that I had go into the wastegate before. So I usually just run the line, and then I'll put like some 3/8 fuel line over it just to protect it if it's around anything hot or sharp. So I know I wanted to get it done today. I posted that on the Facebook page that the goal was to drive it today. Not gonna get there because it's already like 6:30. I'm gonna finish welding that bung in, weld that tab on, and then... Alright, so I made this list last night. Wire pump is done. I think I got a couple other things to do yet. So clamp couplers, bolt pipe clamp. Oh, that is bolting this thing on. Mount the turbos because they're just like one bolt holding them in. I'm going to put some RTV on there. That's usually what I do on the turbo flange. Route the vacuum line. I'm just going to go vacuum line to the wastegate for now. Not worry about the loud valve. And then build a block mount tab. So that is this thing right there. So that shouldn't take that long. I'll work on that stuff. Decided to keep this video rolling because I'm just going to turn it into one video. So Got everything mounted underneath the truck. Pump is mounted. I do have some extra line here. I just used some barb fittings to kind of couple this together. I talked about that before. I'm going to put a different fitting on and then shorten this line up. But wiring is all done. Pump does run. I did verify it. And really all I did was, I used to have the methanol injection kit right here, so I just extended the wiring from here to over there and ran the positive and negative to the pump over on that side. And then I ended up reusing the relay that I had to trigger the methanol pump. So all I did was, this here used to have this vacuum switch hooked up to it. So when it would see boost, it would turn the methanol pump on. So basically all I did was run the trigger for the relay to the positive power source. And this yellow wire goes back to the fuse box over here. Underneath you can see that I have a little fuse block down there. And when I wired the methanol injection kit, I had that all hooked up. So I kind of forgot how I did it. And sometimes that's the beauty of making videos on everything that you do, because I went back and I referenced the video to figure out how I had that thing wired. And it took me like a minute to find the video and find the part in the video where I had it wired. So instead of ripping everything apart to remember what I did with wiring, I just looked at the video and that worked. I did finish welding this onto the bottom. Just gonna do a straight vacuum line right from the bottom right to the wastegate. I'm not gonna go under the bed yet. I did bead roll all the ends of the pipes here, so that's all good. And now I'm going to start putting the cold side in and clamping everything together. Okay guys, everything is pretty much ready to go now. So I built this little bracket right there, welded that thing on. It's just like a little T shape. It's kind of like that, welded it on. And now I got some oil lines. I would like those things to go down a little bit more, but everything is in, everything is tight. I am gonna have to build some bracing or something for this. This is kind of like flopping around here, but I'm gonna give it a start quick and see what it does. I should have oil and drain and all that stuff. I might try to foot brake it and just see if it does anything, put some load on the turbos and see if it can make some noise or something, kind of see where we're at and check for oil leaks and all that good stuff. Yeah. I heard it. You heard it? Yeah. Is it loud? It is. Whoa. You like it? Yeah. Yeah, me too. All right, so that's it for this video, guys. Next video will be a driving video. I promise. Everything's set up. Got a couple more things I want to button up yet. Nothing big. Like, I want to secure that pipe, and I have like an oil line that I want to throw some zip ties on. Just little stuff. And I want to change the oil before I take it back out. So as far as how that spooled, I feel pretty good about where the truck is at. So keep in mind, I could never foot brake and build boost with this truck until I had the MSD two-step. And even to get the truck on the MSD two-step, I had to pull 15 degrees of timing out of the truck. So like when I was at the track, because the brakes are so bad and it pushes through, like you saw the wheel spin, I just can't hold the brakes. Like I'm literally standing on the pedal with my ass off the seat, and it'll lurch forward or it spins the rear tires. So just to get it on the two-step, I had to pull a bunch of timing out of it just to get it there. Then I could build boost like 7-8 pounds. So even with the 7875 and the GT45, when I had that on here, I could never foot brake the truck and build boost. So this, when I just did this, it was at like 5 to 7 inches of vacuum, which is pretty close to where it normally was when I tried to do it with the 7875. So I did see on the video the thingies started spinning a lot faster, and that was only like 2,000 RPM maybe when the wheel spun. So I feel okay about it. More testing, I guess that's what it's gonna take. I know lag is always the concern with everybody, but I wanted to, I mean, kind of put it in perspective here, how small these turbos are. Like that's my fingers. So they're pretty small. Like these turbos each are designed for like a 2-liter engine, like 1.8 liter, 2 liter. I talked to another guy yesterday, Chris Henson. He has a LS Ranger, and he said he put one of these turbos, not the VS Racing version, but a different version, on a 1.8 liter, and he said it spooled faster than his turbo Ranger, LS Ranger. I think he has like a S475 on it. So they're pretty small. If each one of these works on like a 1.8 liter, I feel like it's not that big, but I guess that's just my theory. So everybody else's theory is different than mine, so I guess we'll just see what happens. I'm excited. Next video I'll be driving, unless something weird happens.